sir, you want to address this whistleblower story?
What story?
The whistleblower, whether it was
Ridiculous story. It's a partisan whistleblower. They shouldn't even have information. I've had conversations with many leaders that are always appropriate. I think Scott can tell you that. Always appropriate, at the highest level, always appropriate. And anything I do, I fight for this country. I fight so strongly for this country. It's just another political hack job. That's all it is.
On that point, did you discuss Joe Biden, his son, or his family with the leader?
It doesn't matter what I discuss, but I will say this. Somebody ought to look into Joe Biden's statement because it was disgraceful, where he talked about billions of dollars that he's not giving to a certain country unless a certain prosecutor's taken off the case. So somebody ought to look into that, and you wouldn't because he's a Democrat. And the fake news doesn't look into things like that. It's a disgrace. But I had a great conversation with numerous people. I don't even know exactly who you're talking about, but I had a great conversation with numerous people, numerous leaders, and I always look for the conversation that's going to help the United States the most. That's very important.
Do you know the identity of the whistleblower? Do you know the identity?
I don't know the identity of the whistleblower. I just hear it's a partisan person, meaning it comes out from another party, but I don't have any idea. But I can say that it was a totally appropriate conversation. It was actually a beautiful conversation. And this is no different than, you know, the press has had a very bad week with Justice Kavanaugh and all of those ridiculous charges and all of the mistakes made at the New York Times and other places. You've had a very bad week, and this will be better than all of them. This is another one. So keep playing it up because you're going to look really bad when it falls. You know, I guess I'm about 22-0, and I'll keep it that way. Other than to say, great conversation, totally appropriate conversation, couldn't have been better. And keep asking questions and build it up as big as possible so you can have a bigger downfall.
Hey there.
Coalition to address Iran's allegations, and does that start today?
Well, I always like a coalition. Sometimes you find that people have made a lot of money that you'd want in the coalition. They've made a lot of money with Iran, which is, you know, when President Obama made that deal, not only was it a bad deal, but the United States didn't partake in a business sense, and other countries, Germany, France, Russia, many other countries made a lot of money with Iran, and we didn't make money with Iran, which that was just one of the many bad parts about the deal. Everyone else is making money and we're not. So we'll see what happens. Look, the United States is in a class by itself. We have the most powerful military in the world by far. There's nobody close. As you know, we've spent tremendous, and hopefully, and we pray to God we never have to use it, but we've totally renovated and bought new nuclear, and the rest of our military is all brand new. The nuclear now is at a level that it's never been before, and I can only tell you because I know the problems of nuclear, I know the damages that, I know what happens. And I want to tell you, we all hope, and Scott hopes, we all pray that we never have to use nuclear. But there's nobody that has anywhere close to what we have. Well, UNGA is going to be very exciting. We look forward to it. We'll be there. You'll be there?
Yeah, I'll be there later in the week. Yeah.
And for you, it's a much longer trip.
It is a pit. Yeah.
But we look forward to it. We have a big message for UNGA. We have a big message, and I haven't been back to New York in a long time. I see that our part-time mayor will be now going back to New York, so he'll be able to work a little bit harder. But he dropped out of the presidential race a little while ago. Too bad. He had tremendous potential. He only had one real asset. You know what it was? Height. Other than that, he had nothing going. Okay, what else?
Well, I think the United States has taken a very measured and calibrated approach to date. And the thing about our partnership is we always listened to whatever requests are made, and Australia always considers them and in our national interests, and we have good conversations about these things. But the thing is, both of us, we never get ahead of ourselves on these things. We just, you take this one step at a time, and we keep talking to each other. That's what we've always done wherever we've worked together, and we're going to keep doing that. We've got such an open line of communication. I appreciate the fact The President and I talk about these things even when we're not together, and we're going to keep doing that, and we'll just take these things one step at a time.
You know, the easiest thing for me to do, and maybe it's even a natural instinct, maybe I have to hold myself back. I remember during the debates and when I was running against Hillary and the Democrats and the media, I view them all the same. I view that partnership very much the same. But when I was running, everybody said, oh, he's going to get into war, he's going to get into war, he's going to blow everybody up, he's going to get into war. Well, the easiest thing I can do, in fact, I could do it while you're here, would say, go ahead, fellas, go do it. And bad day for Iran. That's the easiest thing I could do. It's so easy. And for all of those that say, oh, they should do it, it shows weakness, it shows, actually, in my opinion, it shows strength. Because the easiest thing I can do, okay, go ahead, knock out 15 different major things in Iran. I could do that and all set to go. It's all set to go. But I'm not looking to do that if I can. I think I've changed a lot of minds. People are very surprised that, and many people are extremely happy. Many people are thrilled, and many people are saying, oh, I wish you'd hit the hell out of that. Well, let's see what happens. But it will take place in 1 minute. I could do it right here in front of you, and that would be it. And then you'd have a nice big story to report. And I think it shows far more strength to do it the way we're doing it. And again, whether it's next week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, doesn't make any difference. Whether it's now or in 3 weeks, doesn't make any difference. But I think the strong person's approach and the thing that does show strength would be showing a little bit of restraint. Much easier to do it the other way. It's much easier. And Iran knows if they misbehave, they're on borrowed time. They're not doing well. I'd like to see them do great. I'd love to see them do great, but they're not doing well. They're doing very poorly. They're doing far worse than they've ever done before. They're having riots in their streets. They're having a lot of problems in Iran right now. They could solve it very quickly. But the easiest thing for me to do is say, okay, let's go. Let's just do it. Very easy for me to do. But it is interesting because when I was campaigning, everybody here thought that I was going to be like, it would be one day. But what I have done is I've defeated ISIS. I've rebuilt our military to a level that it's never been before. Spent a lot of money. The budgets are not so hard to fix for me, but when you're spending $1.5 trillion so far, now another 738 billion on the military, but think of it, $1.5 trillion, and we have the greatest in the world. But I think restraint is a good thing. I think it's a good thing.
Times to work with Rudy Giuliani, his personal lawyer, on a probe. Remember, this is his political opponent, whom he's trying to have investigated. The Journal cites people familiar with the matter. Quoting now from the Journal, he told him that he should work with Giuliani on Biden, and that people in Washington wanted to know whether allegations were true or not, one of the people said. Trump did not mention a provision of foreign aid to Ukraine on that call, said the person who didn't believe that Mr. Trump offered the Ukrainian president any quid pro quo for his cooperation on an investigation. Giuliani in June and August met with top Ukrainian officials about the prospect of an investigation, he said in an interview. The Trump lawyer has suggested that Mr. Biden, as vice president, worked to shield from investigation a Ukrainian gas company with ties to his son, Hunter Biden. A Ukrainian official earlier this year said he had no evidence of wrongdoing by Mr. Biden or his son. After the July call between the two presidents, the Ukrainian government said Mr. Trump had congratulated the new president on his election. The new president used to be a comedian, and expressed hope that the government would push ahead with investigations and corruption probes that had stymied relationships between the two countries. The White House declined to comment to the Journal. The Biden campaign did not respond to a Journal request for comment, but last week a Biden campaign spokesman said of Mr. Giuliani's efforts to pressure Ukraine, quoting now, "This is beneath us all as Americans." The full story is lengthy.